So let's talk about the kitchen. One of my favorite places because the food over here is absolutely amazing. Now, if you're working on the kitchen and in the kitchen, you might have a couple things that you need to take into account to make sure that you protect yourself and you serve the clients in the best way possible. A couple things to take into account. You need to make sure that you wear the proper attire. This means gloves to make sure that you're not touching the food with your bare hands. Also, a front vessel to make sure that you don't get your clothes dirty with the food itself. On top of which, you should also be protecting yourself with heat and hot stuff, making sure that you have gloves and the proper tools to make sure that you handle the food correctly. Most importantly as well, you need to make sure that you're communicating with the customers and the client in the most efficient way possible. Just like we have talked in the cashier position, where you are actually the one handling the customer relationship, here in the kitchen, you're also doing something very, very similar. Right here in our store, you're obviously in the kitchen, but also helping and serving clients and customers as they come in and ask you for products. This means that you need to make sure that you are always smiling, give great customer service, you have a great attitude, always smiling, of course, like I mentioned, and you're always trying to sell and upsell clients. So for example, maybe they order an empanada, you offer them something to drink. They want to buy a coffee, you offer them an empanada. Maybe they buy a piece of lunch, you offer them something to drink. Always try to find things that you can sell and upsell to make sure that their customer experience is a lot better. So those are a couple things to make sure you take into account with the kitchen. Apart from which, let's talk about the merchandise, right? The merchandise is right here as well, but we also have a storage where we have a cooler, a big cooler where we store the meat and all the pastries and everything else. Now here, you need to make sure that as you're putting it in, when the merchandise comes in, you're organizing things in its right spot. If you're not organizing them, then it becomes a mess afterwards when you're trying to find it, and then you can't find it and it becomes just a big fat mess where you can't serve clients, you're delayed, you're trying to find merchandise to cook, and it just becomes a mess. So make sure that inside the cooler and inside the refrigerator, you're putting the merchandise in the right spot in an organized fashion. Finally, when you sell something to the clients or the clients ask you for something, make sure that you're writing on a piece of paper, let's just say an empanada, a chicken empanada or beef or whatever the case may be, make sure you're writing the specific thing that they're buying so when they get to the cashier can see and verify what they're buying in the most efficient and easiest way possible. We have created a full table with different articles and different things that we actually sell here for you to make sure that you study it, memorize it, you're able to write it in the piece of paper right there. So when they get to the cashier is able to help and serve the client and customer like that. So again, this has been helping in the kitchen, couple things and couple tips to make sure you can take into account. Make sure you implement if you're starting to work inside the kitchen. Make sure you keep an eye out. And most importantly, always smile and have a great attitude, because that's what heaven is all about.
Heaven Deli and Market. Enjoy more for less.